Spectacular, phenomenal, remarkable, indubitably spignoogl.
Welcome to Review Mean, the channel where we go an extra mile to simplify your movie decisions. Today we'll be analysing Avatar: Fire and Ash. Let's get right to it. At the time of this video, these were the critics that had reviewed the movie. Jeremy salutes the CGI team like war heroes and walks out dazzled but emotionally confused. He admits the movie is pure spectacle, from the blue people to the animals joining the chaos, and James Cameron reminding Hollywood who owns the tech crown. But once the visual sugar rush wears off, Jeremy finds the themes oddly thin and the formula extremely familiar. He had fun, sure, but also left knowing exactly how Avatar 4 will feel, because he just watched Avatar 3 do Avatar 2 again, only louder. Grace thinks this might be the movie where the blue goose finally stops laying golden eggs, or proves it's immortal. She felt the runtime hard, noticed the audience laughing at the movie instead of with it, and thinks the film feels dated in its melodrama. While she agrees the visuals are unreal and Varang is worth the ticket alone, she also says this barely feels like its own movie, more like Way of Water the extended version, which it is. Dan Murrell came in expecting fire and instead got reheated water. He respects the spectacle because, well, that's Avatar, but says this is the first time the franchise feels derivative of itself. The Fire Clan is new, but the storytelling beats aren't, and Dan was never really surprised. He even calls the ending borderline laughable, which is not what you want when wrapping up a 3-hour epic. For Dan, this lands Avatar: Fire and Ash in its fine layer.
Where the Na'vi girls at? Where them Na'vi girls at?
3C Films marvels at how every frame looks like it costs $1 million, because it probably does. But once the visual awe settles, repetition kicks in hard. He feels like he's watching scenes he already saw in Way of Water, just shuffled around. The length hurts it, the dialogue sticks out in a bad way, and instead of feeling like a cinematic event, this one feels like Avatar going through the motions. Very expensive motions. Sean says this movie delivers the Avatar experience exactly as advertised. No more, no less. The visuals are flawless, the emotional beats hit, and the action crescendos exactly when it's supposed to. But he also admits it brings almost nothing new to the table and repeats story beats relentlessly. He even agrees with 3C Films that centering weaker elements hurts the film. Sean sums it up perfectly. Beautifully crafted, emotionally effective, and something you've absolutely seen before. Rob from The John Campea Show is in full awe mode. He acknowledges the repetition and the structural mess, but for him, Fire and Ash is part of one massive symphony rather than a standalone song. Yes, there's too much story, too many characters, and some awkward editing, but none of that stops him from calling it the best theatrical experience you can buy a ticket for.
There is no better experiential event in a movie theater than the Avatar movies.
It is imperfect, but still unmatched as a big screen event. Adam treats this movie like a marathon he didn't train for but survived. He admits it's stronger than Way of Water and even had emotional moments that worked. But he's exhausted by the runtime, the franchise padding, and the unresolved story threads clearly saved for future profits. The visuals are great, the music isn't, and while it's not his cup of tea, he politely acknowledges that Cameron fans will be very hydrated by the spectacle. Chris is hypnotized by the technical achievement, staring into the background of shots like a film student seeing God. He praises the action, performances, and sheer density of visual detail, but admits the pacing drags and some storylines matter less than others. While he enjoyed himself, this lands as his least favorite Avatar, which really just means it's a very impressive movie that doesn't quite reach Cameron's own impossible standards.
The Bigney Bob with the diddly bong, we do not kill people, we are a peaceful nation.
Mark Kermode has had enough. He didn't like the first, disliked the second, and by the third, he's openly checked out. Annoyed by the runtime, the 3D glasses, the repetition, and the characters he can't remember. He even calls some visuals video game-like, directly contradicting nearly every other critic. For Mark, this is bladder-busting déjà vu cinema, and James Cameron appears to be the only person still emotionally invested. Austin agrees with almost everyone. The visuals are jaw-dropping, but the pacing and runtime are real problems this time. He wanted more fire, found the story frustratingly repetitive, and wasn't thrilled with some character choices, especially Spider. Still, he enjoyed the experience and admits the quality is undeniable. His disappointment comes from expectation. When the bar is this high, good feels like a letdown. Cody says this might be the most action-packed Avatar yet, so much so that boredom never really sets in, but fatigue does. There are no real narrative surprises, no twists, and the same beats keep looping. He also joins the anti-Spider coalition. Oddly enough, despite all that, Cody still thinks this might be the best of the three, even while admitting it absolutely does not justify its runtime or function well as an ending. Now let's round up the numbers and convert to percentage. The review mean score for Avatar Fire and Ash is 60% compared to 67% on the tomatometer. Seems the critics in general agree then. Everyone seems to agree on three things. It looks unbelievable, it's way too long, and it's doing things you've definitely seen before. The disagreements start when deciding whether that's comforting, frustrating, or an unforgivable cinematic crime. Avatar, Fire and Ash lands squarely in impressive but exhausting territory. A movie that melts eyeballs, tests bladders, divides critics, and proves once again that James Cameron doesn't make films, he makes endurance-based visual events. If you're seeing this in theaters, which you absolutely should, just remember, this is eye candy first, story second, and bladder management is essential